everybody. It's an honor to be here. My name is Wu, and some of you might have seen me on MasterChef. Please don't make me cook dessert. I forgot my speech. So I'm most likely the least qualified speaker who ever appeared on TEDx. I'm not a scientist. I don't have any research studies to share with you, just my personal experience. I have been a very lucky person. I have made some decisions that profoundly changed my life. I didn't realize that until much, much later. I want to tell you a story of my life and how by making some random choices that were seemingly absurd at the time, I managed to enjoy it without dying even once. I'm not even kidding. I almost died when I was 6 years old, living in Bulgaria, and I thought it was a good idea to break into a water park, to climb up a water slide, and to accidentally fall into the pool. The pool was very deep, and I didn't know how to swim. There wasn't anybody around to help either. So my survival instincts kick in, and I end up walking under the water until I reached the shallow end of the pool. And to be honest, it was the longest journey in my life. It was a very, very scary experience, but I never learned my lessons. But let me start from the beginning. I was born in Vietnam and mostly lived there for the first 13 years of my life. My parents traveled back and forth between Vietnam and Bulgaria for many, many years until we finally settled down in Sofia. I was a 7th grader who didn't speak almost any Bulgarian. And I still remember the first phrase that my dad told me, "Аз не говоря български," which means, I don't speak Bulgarian. It used to be the first thing I tell all the kids in my neighborhood. So I started in a public school almost immediately, and as most of you from Bulgaria know, 7th grade is the most important year of your life. That's when you take the high school exams, and if you have low grades and you fail your exams, pretty much your life is ruined, right? Some of you have gone through that recently. Well, I did. I failed my exams. My Bulgarian was terrible, so I ended up staying until 8th grade. And you know what people say about kids who go to high school after 8th grade? Basically, you are a failure, and your life is doomed. I had the best high school experience ever. I had the best classmates. Maybe I didn't get the best education out there, but I got some amazing life lessons and a unique bunch of friends. We still hang out every month. 4 years later, I have to decide if I want to stay in Bulgaria to study and to be close to my parents, or to go to the United States. It was a super easy decision for me. I was burning from the desire to live alone. Who doesn't, right, at that stage, to be free from your parents' tyranny. So I didn't even think of it twice. Here I come, the United States of America. So yes, now I have to make another important decision. What should I major in? I always liked drawing and fine arts, but my parents had a different vision for my life, like most other Asian parents, if you know what I mean. I understand them. I cannot really blame them. My parents lived through a war, so they know what it takes to survive in this world. During the Vietnam War, my grandparents have to separate their children and send them to live at different places in the country. So if one place gets bombed, not all their children died. So just think about that for a moment. The choices that people had to make then. So when my parents sent me to the US, they sent me with specific instructions. You have to major in something practical, which translates to business administration, engineering, or computer science. So I did. I chose computer science. I thought since I like chatting and writing both script to throw people on IRC, if you guys know what it is, it's a Facebook of the 90s. Some of you may be too young to remember. That would have become a good computer scientist. Well, I was very, very wrong about that. It was a terrifying moment for me. What was I going to do? I have no clue what I'm good at, and I hated my major. So like most young adults who are lost, I decided to change my majors. I changed it 3 times. I started with computer science, changed it to fine arts, only to quickly realize that I suck at it. And there's no way to make a living out of it. So I thought, cool, maybe my parents were right all along. Maybe I should go with business instead, right? Wow, I hated it. I only took a couple classes, like, yeah, it's not for me. So then at the end of my second year, I was completely lost. What am I supposed to do now? I have still no clue what I'm good at. And there's coming the moment I have to basically make a choice. So I decided to transfer to another university in another state. I applied to a few universities to major changing from architecture to fashion design. Yeah, all random stuff. And ended up enrolling in a journalism degree at the University of North Carolina. And you know why I chose it? Really didn't think too much about it. I chose it mainly because my girlfriend was close. Talking about making lifelong choices based on emotion rather than logic. So, moving to North Carolina was one of the smartest decisions I have made in my entire life. Because I made that decision, I ended up meeting 2 of the most significant people in my life. I met my wife, who is Bulgarian and who was a student back then, but I also met an amazing professor who is a Fulbright scholar and a National Geographic photographer. He became my mentor and also helped me to stay focused so I can actually graduate with something. So I ended up graduating with a digital media and photojournalism degree. He also helped me land my first job at the New York Times, covering business and politics. And that was my second lucky break. There I met my second mentor, who was my boss, the design director of the New York Times. He really taught me the value of self-criticism and self-improvement. He also pushed me to my limits. With him, I really learned what a good and a well-done job looks like. Most people would be happy just to be there, working with the best people in the industry, but life had a different plan for me. So in less than 2 years, I decided to move again. So I quit my job and moved to Seattle, so that I could be with my new girlfriend, who eventually became my wife. So second time in my life, I make a choice based on emotion rather than logic. Fast forward 2 companies, a wedding, and a birth of our first child, I joined a technology startup. Back then, my son was still an infant. So before I turned 30, I have accomplished pretty much everything I've ever wanted in life. I had become a design director. I was making a really good salary. I have achieved the American dream. Had a house, a family, and a dog. But I was not happy. There was something missing. I was working crazy hours. And I was under constant stress. At one point, I went to a severe depression, had some problem with substance abuse, and that impacted my family. You know what's the worst of it? Is that you didn't have enough time to spend with your family. So what's the point of making all this money when you really cannot spend it to have fun with the people that you love? It was the same for my wife. She was on a fast track to become a manager at Microsoft, but she had to work until the day that she gave birth, and had to go back to work when our son was only 4 months old. So that's what got us thinking. Nothing in this life is eternal. When all the people that you love are gone, how much are you willing to give up? just to spend one more day with them? The answer was simple for me, all of it. So we decided to move back home. What about quit our jobs and sold everything we own? And one beautiful November day, we bought a plane and moved back to Bulgaria. It was the hardest decision I have ever made in my entire life. I'm no longer responsible for myself. I'm responsible for my family and my son's future. And we had no clue at that point what we are going to do to survive here. And not much when everybody around us telling us we are crazy. 3 years have passed since that big move. And I have never been happier. I finally have time now to pursue my interests, to travel, take photos of strangers, start a startup with my wife, even though it fell very quickly, participate in MasterChef, start our own restaurant, and most recently, join a fast-growing technology startup in the UK, working from home. Now I get a chance to work with amazing and ambitious people who also have families and really understand what it takes to have a good life balance. I never regret the moment. I've never regretted the decision to go back here. But don't get me wrong, I don't regret a single second spent in the United States either. It really made me who I am and gave me the foundation, the skills, and the resources to do what I do now. Throughout my ever-changing life, the only constant has been my family, my friends, who are always there to support me, even when they don't understand why I do what I do, who are always there for me, even when I fail and I really want to give up. And if you think about it, most of my lucky breaks was to surround myself with the right people, my mentors, my family, and my friends. If you ever find yourself in the place that nobody challenges you, inspires you, or supports you, then you're most likely in the wrong place. Now, you're wondering why I'm telling you all this stuff. Why anybody care about my life? As I mentioned before, I'm not really qualified to give this speech. I haven't done anything remotely helpful. I've always been lucky, and that's what I'm basing my life on. Now that I look back at all those moments and all the decisions, there's only one thing that unified all these messages in my life. And it wasn't about making the right choices. It wasn't about being dedicated or being prepared. It has even less to do with being intelligent. It's all about making a jump into the uncertainty. It's about just doing it and learn from your mistakes. It's about surrounding yourself with the people who are always there for you and support you no matter what. I always try to remember this one quote from Winston Churchill. Success is not final. Failure is never fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. So there'll be moments in your life when you fall really hard, when you are lost, and you really, really, really want to give up. Those are the moments that will pass, and you'll become better and stronger and wiser. Don't fear the uncertainty. Embrace it. Thank you very much.